The Governor will now make her ANZAC Day address, which was pre-recorded at Government House.
I start by acknowledging the traditional owners of the land upon which I'm standing and by paying my respects to their elders past and present. As Australians, we understand why the 25th of April is a special day for our nation. On this day, 105 years ago, just after 4 a.m, the first waves of Australian soldiers fought their way ashore on the Gallipoli Peninsula. By the end of that terrible day, 2,000 had been killed or wounded, the first of more than 26,000 Australian casualties of the Gallipoli campaign. The extraordinary endurance of the ANZACs became an indelible part of our national story. Each year we honour the sacrifices made, on our behalf then and since, by all those who've served our country in defence and peacekeeping duties. We gather at the Shrine of Remembrance or at local memorials, in towns and cities right across our state, to stand in silence in the darkness before the dawn, sometimes shivering in the chill, sometimes in the rain, amongst friends and amongst strangers too. This year, of course, is different. For the first time in living memory, we're unable to come together for services at dawn, or for parades or marches, or for any of the traditions that usually mark this day. I know this will be a source of sadness for many. As the Governor of Victoria, it's my privilege to meet veterans and serving members of the Australian Defence Force and to hear their remarkable stories. I know that the changed arrangements this year will be difficult for them, and for their families, and for others for whom this day has a very personal significance. Indeed, for all of us, there is an added poignancy to this year's commemorations. We cannot gather together as we usually would, but perhaps we can reflect in a new way on why ANZAC Day still unites us so profoundly. We can reflect that although the men who fought at Gallipoli, the nurses who cared for the wounded, and those who toiled at home to support the effort were from a time now distant to us, we are still bound to them, bound across the generations, across the diversity of our backgrounds, cultures and religions, and across the challenges of different times. The qualities those young Australians discovered in themselves at Gallipoli are as precious to us today as they ever were. Courage in the face of fear, holding together, loyalty, and digging in with grit and perseverance, no matter how hard things get. Recent events have certainly shown us that these values endure. We saw the vital role and the selfless service of our Australian Defence Force during the awful bushfires of the summer. And now, in the midst of this current public health crisis, we're seeing the ADF step up again to help in transport and logistics, manufacturing, and support for the health workers, police and emergency services who are working so hard to keep us safe. On this ANZAC Day, amidst the anxiety and uncertainty that we're feeling, I want to thank our servicemen and our servicewomen for modelling the same values of resilience, courage and adaptability that those before them showed at Gallipoli and have shown across the decades since. We can all draw inspiration from their example, as each one of us plays our own part in the effort to control the spread of the COVID-19 virus, to care for those affected, and to plan for the brighter future that we know will come. This year on ANZAC Day, we will be physically apart, and although we yearn to be together again, to gather at dawn, to collect at memorials and cenotaphs, to march and to cheer those marching, and for some of us to see old comrades and to talk fondly of others, we will still be joined whether alone or with families or housemates, joined whether inside our homes or lighting up the dawn with a candle or a torch. Whether we stand in silence at farm gates, in our driveways, or on our doorsteps, balconies or verandas, joined in our shared resolve on this as on every 25th of April to remember what others have given for us. Although this year we remember differently, it remains as true as ever to say, we will remember them.